Zuri's Village. I am your host, Larissa Lane, and this is my bestest, Winter Renee Clay.
Hey, y'all.
So, this has been my best friend for quite some time.
Yeah.
Right? We've been best friends for
10 years. I haven't been counting y'all.
I know.
But before I got married.
Yeah.
So
you got married.
Maybe like a year
14.
before, you think?
Yeah.
So maybe a decade.
Dang.
A decade,
Let's
y'all.
go.
Hey, we need some
Let's
music.
Let's go. Let's go to 10 years. But yeah, so I thought I seemed fit to have, for my second episode, to have my best friend, right? It's called Zuri's Village, and she is a huge part of my village, honestly. And she helps me in ways that I can't even imagine, explain. So I do have some questions.
It's the Lord, y'all. I'm just a vessel. For real.
No, that's real.
Yeah.
So, what when you think of village, what does having a village mean to you?
I think the definition has transformed. My perspective has transformed over the years, and I think just learning the dynamic of what true relationship looks like, what covenant looks like, those are huge components in having a village. So your village, you're in covenant with them, and they're reliable. Everyone has a role. I think about, and this is real random, y'all. I'm real random. No, she's more random.
Completely.
But I'm about to bring out a science fact, right? So y'all can source it, because I don't have the source. But ants. Ants, they work together. They all have a job. They have a role. You got the worker ants. You got the ants that are inside. You have the ones that are protecting the queen. You have the ones that are having the babies to sustain and grow the colony, right? And so I think the village operates in the same way. Like, everybody knows their role. No one's trying to get in, duplicate the other person. There's no competition. There's support. Like I said, there's reliability. There's wise counsel. And you do life together, you go through conflicts with each other, and you grow. You don't retreat or run from it. You look at it as an opportunity to grow. And that's just, I think, a high level perspective of what it means to be in a village with people. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. So when it comes to having a village, how has having a village impacted you in your life?
I think without my village, I wouldn't be who I was, because I would be trying to play roles that were not my own. I had to make space for people who got put in my life to do what they're supposed to do in my life, and not be so, strong-minded, like, I got this, I'm independent, to really receive instead of giving. I'm a giver by nature. I'm a lover at heart. And I had to learn how to surrender that to be able to receive. And, that's important, because if you don't let the people who are in your village give, then they don't feel like they don't feel, what's the word? They don't feel like they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They don't feel fulfilled. They don't feel fulfilled. And that can cause, a lot of inner turmoil for that person. So, whether we realize it or not, there's weight in the way that we make decisions. There's weight in how we do life with the people that surround us. And they have a divine purpose, right? So let them do what they're supposed to do in your life. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is off the top, y'all. I didn't even know she was asking me these questions.
She had no idea I was asking these questions. I just wanted to be authentic.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Am I authentic? Am I giving?
You're giving
authenticity?
You're giving
okay.
authenticity. You're giving what it's supposed to give.
Okay.
I think we hear often people say, like, oh, I don't have friends, or I don't have the people around me, or what I need to get to where I want to go. What is your take on how people find those people? and who to receive from.
Okay, so how do you find those people?
Yes.
Discernment. You have to consider what you want the long-term outcome to look like, and based on that, you assess the people that God brings to you to see if they're connected to that, if that makes sense. So, for example, if you are, looking for someone who can give you wise counsel because you're lacking that, then you're not going to find her in the club. You're not going to find her, I don't even know, insert another scenario. But I say that all to say you have to really consider what your long-term outcome is. We can't just think, immediate outcome, immediate gratification. You want a friend to go out with, or, what qualities are you looking for? What characteristics are you looking for? What do you want to grow and transform into, right? And that can help you filter, who's right for you and who's not right for you in that season. Some people are seasonal, and that's okay. Tyler Perry talks about it in his book. I forget the name of the book.
Higher is waiting.
Yeah, higher is waiting. Insert. Under my hand. She's going to put it there now. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, he talks about, he uses this analogy about trees. And he talks about the branches and the vines and the roots, right? And so sometimes you will encounter people where they're the branches, right? And so when the going gets tough, that branch can't sustain that weight, right? And then you get the rooted people where they're there for whatever. They're in it, right? Because you're interconnected, and your purpose is interconnected, right?
And there's your leaves.
Yes. So long-winded answer, but you use your discernment, and you use your filtration system of what it is you're looking for. Who are you trying to transform into? And those are the qualities that you look for in that person, whether it be friendship or romantic relationship. You can apply that the same way. Yeah,
that's good. So I think about our friendship and how, like, when we met. So for those who don't know, when we met, Winter was my client.
Yes.
I was doing her hair.
Yes, she was coming to me.
Yes.
So special. Out in Monroeville.
Yes.
I don't know if all y'all's gonna know where that's at.
I know.
If you're from Pittsburgh, you know where Monroeville is.
Exactly. But yeah, I was going to her to do her hair, and occasionally she would come to me, but for the most part I was going to her. And then all in all, we ended up building a friendship. She went
organically.
Yes, it was like organically. And then even during her process of being engaged and getting married, we grew even closer.
Yes.
It was like it seemed like
accelerated. But everything about that season was accelerated for me, if I'm honest. And I had the wrong perspective of what it meant to be a friend. Mm-hmm. I knew that I was a good friend. Not that I was I didn't make mistakes or I didn't have areas to grow, but the friends at the time were not friending. Mm-hmm. In a sense. And there were challenges with that I had to work internally and not externally, right? And then just kind of process what was going on. But Rissa really showed me what it felt like to have a me. That's what it felt like. I was like, oh my goodness, I really didn't know what it felt like to, have someone show up for me and be there for me and love me and give me wise counsel the way that I do for others. So yeah, she was very selfless in that season, and it was a season that I really needed that selflessness. She was the vessel that provided that.
Just a vessel.
Yeah, girl.
So even in our friendship, I think, thinking back honestly, and being a friend but I learned friendship through my mom. Mm-hmm. I learned friendship through my mom and how she was with her friends. So I learned how she, how to be a good friend. Mm-hmm. Right. And it's funny because now when I look at you with your daughters, mm-hmm. right, and how they have their friends, especially Ashanti, and how she has her friends, and how you help navigate her through friendship.
Yeah.
Who did you have anyone in your life who displayed what true friendship was? How did you get to the point of saying, this is what it is to be a friend, and this is who I want to be.
Yeah. I didn't have anyone teach me necessarily how to be a good friend. My mom did instill principles in me. She always taught me kindness. She told me to always consider what people might be going through internally, like that their outward expression doesn't always match up with what they're feeling internally. So like if someone's, for example, bullying, they may be, having a hard time at home, and like she always just helped me like think beyond the superficial, if that made sense. So I naturally just analyzed and assessed people because of that skill set my mom instilled in me at a young age. And like I said, I made mistakes, but I always was a caring person. I always loved people. I never wanted to stigmatize people or put people in categories, if you will. I just organically wanted to get to know you, whether, in high school where they call you like, there's the lame group, there's the populars, there's just like the common people. Like it didn't matter where you fell in that high school system. I still wanted to get to know you. And so I had friends in all categories, right? So I think just having these diverse groups of friends, white, black, lame, if you want to call them lame, to the most popular people, ghetto to the most proper, even different religions. I had friends that had different religious backgrounds. Like I had all kinds of friends. And I think just learning to get to know them just shaped me into this, not to pat myself on the back, but a well-rounded individual to be able to appreciate people for who they are. Yeah.
That's good. So I think about friendships and growing up, right? And how I had many, we all grow and have different friends in different stages. And it's funny, I've always admired those friends who had friends who were, for instance, like kids, like childhood friends forever. And growing up, I never really had like childhood friends. Like I don't have friends that I grew up with. I have like maybe 2 male friends that I'm still friends with since like, being in middle school or something. But I didn't grow up with the whole like lifestyle of a friend, if that makes sense. So
they came and went.
Yeah, so friends would come and go. And I was very like, I guess you could say my personality was like, I don't have this to do. Like, I don't like, I've always been a person of integrity. Like, even as a kid, if I got in trouble, I was telling. Like,
I remember.
Like, I was the kid.
Getting in trouble for nobody.
No, I wasn't getting in trouble for nobody. You got me messed up. But I think that played a role in even with my friendships. Like, because I think I showed up for people so much that it was like, if you can't show up for me like this, then I just didn't want any parts. And the hard part for me was I didn't really give people grace either. It was just like, no, you're done. Bye. Okay. And that, of course, comes from childhood traumas.
Yeah. See, I give people a lot of chances.
Yeah, no. Yeah. And I think for me, like, it goes back to, like I said, childhood traumas, having a really close friend when I was in high school who, like, slept with my boyfriend. So after that, I was like, yeah, no. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done with all y'all. I'm done with everybody. But growing up, honestly, like, maturing and getting older, and it was like, okay, realizing the type of friend that I am and understanding that I am not for everybody. I remember I used to tell you, like, I'm like wine. Yeah. Like, honey, I'm like, I am like wine.
Acquired taste.
I'm an acquired taste.
Okay.
And it's like, I understood that about me. I understood everyone was not my company. I understood, I knew I was never born to fit in. And it's like, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with, I'm not born to fit in. Do people want to be liked? Yes, people want to be liked. Yeah. But I wasn't, my decisions wasn't motivated by being liked.
See, I was the opposite. I was a people pleaser.
Okay.
Yeah. I was so used to, I feel like the different friend groups that I experienced, I felt very much tolerated. And that became my norm. And even though it didn't feel good, I just accepted that. I just accepted being tolerated. And I was always trying to assess ways to sustain the friendship. And like whether that meant like I was the ride to the club or, dropping everything I'm doing to do this or that, right? And not that those things are bad, but sometimes I would make decisions at my own detriment. I wasn't putting me first. I was putting the friendship first, but not in a selfless way, in a lacking confidence way. Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I completely understand. Yeah, I think how you grow up sometimes can affect how we, I guess,
Absolutely.
like our need for friendships. And I think also, and I've told you this many times, another reason why I didn't have the need of friendships, because I grew up with such a huge family.
Yeah.
And having a sister that's only 2 years younger than me,
Right.
we were so, we were so close. We were so different. We were completely different individuals, but we loved the fact that we were our own individuals, and that was celebrated, honestly. And it just made me appreciate my type of personality. And it was like, if you don't want to be my friend, that's fine. I got a sister.
Yeah.
Like, I got a sister right at home.
Yeah.
We won't have a good time. But I think, like, getting older and, like, going out, like, so at the time, of course, partying, right? Having this place of, like, partying. I was the one that was the driver. I was taking my dad's cars, my mom's cars. I was the driver. And it was like everybody was okay with partying with me, right? Everybody was okay with, oh, let's go here. We're going to, we're going to do this. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to pick everybody up. We're going to do this. We're going to have a good time. And then it was like, but once I started getting closer to God, and once my life started transforming, all those people kind of disappeared. And I was just like, yeah, that was hard.
Give your life to God, you lose friends. I forget the saying, but like, give your life to God, you lose friends. Then you take it a step further and like live for God, and you lose more friends.
That was hard.
Yeah,
that was so hard. Being honest with you, because it was like you think, and I just believe now, like learning is doing life with people, and I just expected like, oh, I'm going to do life with these people. Even like grabbing friends from relationships, you know how we build friendships from relationships. I think that was probably the most painful because like breaking up, and it's like, I thought y'all was my friends. Y'all been my friends for like the last 7 years.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden,
and we broke up, and y'all gone.
There's a divide.
Oh, that was harsh.
Yeah, but
it's funny because like you coming into my life, and it was like we grew close. But it was through that breakup that we grew closer. Like, and it was like, so let me tell y'all, okay, about this one. She did not play. So we had to get it together. She did not play. So I remember I would have these moments, and my family was used to these moments with me, where if I was troubled by something, I would go internal and shut the whole world out, and then get myself together, and then I'll emerge back out. I hate all it out. But listen, we had this place, and she did something that offended me. And the wig story. Yes.
The wig story.
The wig story, Lord.
That happened in 1992.
Yes.
No, honestly, I remember. I wasn't pregnant with Judah, so it had to happen. Judah wasn't born yet.
No.
So it happened in 2014.
Yeah. It was.
It's not really that serious.
No. It wasn't that serious. No, it wasn't that serious. So I have this issue when people test my integrity. Let's just say that. I've always had this issue when people test my integrity because I'm such an honest person. So she had, I had did my sister's hair one day. We went out. I had a couple wigs. And I've made Winter's wig.
Brittany's wig look like
I know, listen, I had did Winter's wig too. So at one point, and I had gave Winter her wig back, but she didn't realize I gave her wig back.
You didn't give it back to me yet. You had it.
Really?
Yeah, you still had it. That's the reason I was confused.
Okay, so my apologies. Let's get the story together. So I had Winter's wig still, but I liked the way I had did her wig. I had made me my own bob wig or whatever.
It was cute.
It was super cute. And
it was bobbing.
He was bobbing.
Okay, I'm done. I'm gonna be serious.
No, you don't have to be. It's okay. It's all good. I love it. So I had did this. So my sister, we were going out for one of her friends' birthdays, And I was like, she was like, how am I going to do my hair? And I was like, oh, I got a wig. Let me throw this wig on you. Throw the wig on her, take pictures, this, that, and the third. We were out. So, posted on social media. She calls me like, is that my wig on Brittany? What?
I didn't say it like that.
She didn't say it like that. She said, I have a question. Did you put my wig on Brittany?
Is that my wig?
Is that my wig? Because you still have it. And I was like, why would I put your wig on Brittany? That makes no sense.
Asking you,
and she kept asking me. And I got annoyed. And I didn't even, I couldn't articulate. That was also the issue. I was at a place in my life where I could not articulate my feelings. Immediately. Yeah. It would take me like days. So she had, I remember like, I kind of ignored her. Yeah. I started ignoring her.
She wouldn't answer my calls.
She was calling me.
She wouldn't answer my text.
I was so offended. I was extremely offended. And I was like, how dare she? Walking around my house like, how dare she? She called me it was like one day.
You also have to they know that you do hair and stuff. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so I think that plays a part. Like, that's just like what you do for a living.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got it. Because I do hair and makeup for a living, to accuse me of not respecting my personal items, like not respecting the personal items was like offensive, and I didn't know how to express that. So we had she was like contacting me, and I finally answered.
I was like, finally,
yes. And I was like, she was like, what's wrong? And I was like, explain. I was like, well, I just didn't like the fact that you asked me about this wig. And you were just like, really? Like, she was like, oh, well, I didn't mean to offend you. And then I was able to explain to her that I didn't like no one testing my integrity, pretty much. That's what I was explaining to her. And then she was like, I understand that, but you ignoring me is unacceptable. Yeah. She was like, you ignoring me is completely unacceptable. We are friends. We do not ignore people. And it's crazy because she had called my sister and was like, Larissa's not answering my phone call. Brittany was like, oh, that's what she does. She'll come back. Like, she was like, no, y'all okay with, like, that's unacceptable. And because my family, they were like, she's just being a weirdo. We're going to let her do her or whatever. And one time was like, that's unacceptable. And that was the first time I actually had somebody, like, hold me accountable like that. I understand that's how you're feeling, but what it did for me made me feel like she wanted to really be a friend. She wasn't being a fake. Like, to me, it seemed like it made her more genuine or whatever, honestly. And that was like, okay, I can trust her. Like, because I had trust issues. So I was like, I can trust her.
Because I sought after you.
Yes. Your offense. Exactly. Even when I was offended, she sought after me. And I was like, okay, that's my friend for real. And I was like, all right. She was like, we're going to be friends. You know, you can't be doing that. And I was like, okay, I got you.
Yeah, I was like, we could have resolved this yesterday.
Exactly. And I went like a week or maybe longer.
It was a week.
Was it? Okay.
I remember telling Kim, like, she's being such a weirdo. He was like, well, whenever you get the opportunity to talk to her, you guys will work through it.
Exactly. Okay. And honestly, I'm just really grateful for that moment, but it allowed me to know that I can trust you. And I think when it comes to finding a friend, or not, I'm not going to say finding a friend, because I don't really believe that we find friends. I believe that God puts people in our lives, and as you build together, you build a friendship.
Yeah, and you have to be able to discern too. Like,
exactly.
What your role is in their lives. Not everyone's meant to be a friend.
Exactly.
Sometimes you're supposed to minister to them. You know, they're your spiritual children, and you don't have to say that to them, but you have to understand that and be able to bear the right witness. Just like my physical children, like I'm not going to do things that's going to detriment their perspective and their the way that I want them molded to do. Be able to be a kingdom citizen, right? And so the same way in the spirit. When you realize that, this person really isn't my friend, we're not equally yoked, we're not aligned spiritually, she's not mature as me, or maybe she's more mature than you realize, like, okay, I'm supposed to get wise counsel from this person. So that's where that discernment piece comes into play, too. Yeah.
That's good. Because it does, and it goes back to, like, learning when you're meeting people where they fall. Like, almost like putting people in categories. Like,
the boxes.
Yes, the boxes.
It's not a nice term.
I trying to put nobody in a box, but I will put you in a category because
it's necessary.
Yes, it's necessary, and I think it allows you to create boundaries.
Absolutely.
Because honestly, I've met plenty of people who were like, oh, Larissa's my best friend. I'm like, hey, sorry, I got one. I love you, but I literally have one, and I think people don't understand there is a weight that comes with being a best friend, especially my best friend, and her best friend. There's a weight, there's an expectation that happens, and I don't think people want that people want that weight to carry. And I say that because
you think people want that weight to carry?
No.
I think people don't understand the weight.
Yes.
Just like how people are like, I want to get married. I was just talking to someone earlier about this. Like, yes, marriage is lovely, but it is hard work. It is hard work. And, we so fully want to give people that title. Oh, I'm married, this is my husband. But once that covenant is made, it's a lot of responsibility. It is a weight, right? Same thing with friendships. It's that covenant. Like any covenant relationship is a weighty one. Because we're people, we're transforming every single day into the image of Christ. And we have to remember that there's going to be situations where, I'm going to have to be reintroduced to Larissa because she's transformed and she's not the same Larissa from 2014. She's not the wig offender. She's different, right? Man. And so I have to be accepting of that.
That's good because even like I said, I think about whenever there's the weight that comes with it. And sometimes the weight is also unexpected. Like when I lost my son, winter stepped in such a way that I could not expect. Like it was such a way that only God could orchestrate things to happen how they did. Because of how she has such a servant heart, she came in, she was asking them questions. She was asking them questions. She requested to speak to the doctors, the head doctors. The one, we spoke to the head doctor of...
The neonatologist.
Yes, who was in charge of my son's surgery. Yes, we spoke to everybody. She was asking all the questions, even down to when he passed away. She was asking okay, are you guys going to bring him upstairs? Are you guys going to have this? Make sure she has this. Yes, the cooling bed. And they're at first they were like, well, no, we don't have that. And she was like, yes, you do. Yeah. I know you do. I used to work there. So she knew all of it. And she even down to she called the funeral home and found a foundation, Emma's Footprints. Shout out.
That's the spot. I mean, not the sponsor, but the person we need to
organization. The organization, Emma's Footprints.
Oh my goodness, Emma's Footprints. Oh my goodness, you bless so many families.
Yes, they are amazing. Yeah. I love you guys. I'm so grateful for them. Honestly, they
allow you to have a peace of mind when you're grieving.
Yes,
you don't have to think about all of the financial barriers and things like that, and they help you walk you through that very difficult process. They were integral in that journey.
They were. And even
I was up all night looking for resources.
Yeah, she was looking for resources.
While you were asleep.
I was asleep and she was out looking for resources. Literally throughout the night. They were supposed to send, what was it, a social worker or something? Or a caseworker? Yeah, it was some social worker they were supposed to send
a packet
to give us. Yeah, they gave us this packet. Kevin moved in. She found more resources than they did. Yeah. And then she found me a bereavement doula. First off, I didn't even know those things existed. So let's just.
Yeah.
I didn't know bereavement doulas existed. And for those who don't know, Sis is co-founder of Masters of Maternity.
Yeah.
Where they have a hub
of maternal specialists. So doulas, lactation consultants, mental health specialists, and midwives. And you can find the provider that fits your needs. And you don't have to go make a Facebook post or, find word of mouth. You can really use the filter system on the site to be able to identify who's right for you. So, yes.
Quick plug. I had to do because of her knowing all this so much information and her being plugged in, it helped me. So that was her village, right? Mm-hmm. And you brought your village into my world or whatever.
That's the other thing.
Yes, like she brought her
exactly,
and it helped me in such a way that just helped bring peace in so many ways. Like I said, even you bringing Candy, who was my bereavement doula, she was amazing. And very helpful. And then even you connected me with the midwife center, which I was already going to the midwife center, and I love them, their family. And them linking me with Julie, my therapist. She was my therapist during that time, and she was amazing as well. So there was like I said, when it comes back to the weight, even when I came home, she, mind you, this girl got a whole family, okay? She has a whole family and a husband. She has a whole family. And she literally would come to my house. She stayed the night at my house, would get up early in the morning, go home. Mind you, we live on two completely opposite sides of town, all right? It takes like 40 minutes for her to get home. And she would get up in the morning, go home, get her kids ready for school. Yes, she would make me take my meds.
Before I left.
Yes, before she left. So I wasn't in pain. She would go home, get her kids ready for school. Her and her husband would have their moment in the morning, and then she would come back. Like, she would literally come back and work virtually, sitting in the bed with me, just whatever I needed. She was just making sure of that. I talked about the meal train last episode. She found the meal train, however she did that. She found the meal train.
I heard about it from the midwife center, honestly. I had never heard about it. And I don't know, it was just in the back of my mind. I immediately knew I was going to do it for you.
Wow. Yeah. Well, she did the meal train and people signed up and
your village came through.
My village came through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. And she was the one we're doing this, we need to do this,
I put all your diet restrictions on there.
Yeah, she had all my diet restrictions.
People was calling me I don't know what to cook her. She eats grass and ice.
She's so picky.
I was like, no, it's easy. Here, and I gave them some food suggestions. But y'all showed up, village. Y'all did.
Completely. They really did. And I'm grateful for that. So that's what I'm saying when I say the weight of a friendship. I do not know another friend that could have done that for me, honestly. I don't know another friend that could have said, you know what, I have my family, I'm going to care for my family, but right now you are for real the priority.
Yeah.
That
everyone understood.
Yes. And that takes a level of selflessness, honestly. And I think that's a place where you really become the vessel that God called you to be in the moment. And for your family to be understanding. Thank you, Kim, and my babies for understanding. Because that's also sacrifice. They were sacrificing their mom, sacrificing their, his wife to serve me. And she serves many other people because she's also a doula and in training to be a midwife.
Yes.
So she serves so many other families and so many other people. And it's just who God called her to be, honestly. And
it comes naturally, honestly.
I know. Yeah. Like, I watched you.
It's effortless.
I know. I've watched you. It's like something, and it goes back to like, the things that God calls us to do are not things that we have to work hard to do. It's something exactly. Yeah. It's just something that you naturally do.
Yeah.
Like, it's a part of who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
it just makes sense.
Yeah, so that's why I say, like, when it comes, now I do have friends, very close friends, sister friends, very, very close friends, and I love them very much. And they all play their own role.
Yep, we talked about that. Roles.
They all play their own role. They all have, and none of them cancel each other out.
Yep.
They're all just as important. Everybody is just as important in my life, honestly. And having this friendship has taught me how to be friends with others.
Yeah, me too.
Having this friendship, and I think a lot of people get into friendships and think like, oh, we don't have issues. We are like two old ladies.
Issues grow you.
Yes, they do.
And not in a, unhealthy way.
But in a good way. Like, we have our challenges. We absolutely have our challenges. We have our disagreements. We go on each other's nerves. Mm-hmm. But we work through them.
Yeah.
Like, we really work through our challenges. And I think, I truly believe that how you steward your true friendships is how you steward almost everything else.
Absolutely.
Like, whether, you know, relationships and everything. Because
you always say that, too. Because you're like, yeah, I'm going to know how to, like, be a good wife because it's just, like, being in a covenant relationship with the people that you're in a covenant relationship with.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. I am. I know I am.
Yeah, I know you are.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because, honestly, our friendship has taught me how, our friendship, in my friendships with other people, whether if it was Tiffany or Rebecca, it's taught me how to use my voice. Yeah. I think sometimes, like, we get into these places of being afraid because I think we want to be liked so much.
I hear people say that, like, oh, I don't like confrontation. And they mix confrontation with just using your voice. There's a way to use your voice without causing confrontation. If the person on the other end loves you and wants to, dedicate, like, knowing you as you evolve, then your voice shouldn't be a burden to them, right? It shouldn't be a threat to the relationship. It should be an opportunity to grow, and they should be excited. We say that all the time when we work through hard conversations, is like, I'm so happy I get to know you on this level. Now I know how to treat you even better moving forward. What an honor, right? And not in a cliche way. Like, literally, that's what my heart feels like. I get to treat you even better than how I was treating you before. Like, that is a gift to me. But you can't do that without having hard conversations sometimes.
Absolutely. And I think having those hard conversations, like you said, it's like sharpening. It's really the sharpening, and it makes you a better friend. It makes you a better person. It helps you in general, right? Like, whether you're having a conversation in business, it teaches you, because when you're, let's say, like, if we have a conflict or have an issue, I am approaching her out of love. I'm not approaching her out of harshness. I'm not approaching you out of harshness. Like, I'm not coming at you full throttle. Like, even though, like, you do get the raw.
Yeah, even though we get the direct versions of each other, because we've known each other for so long, but we have to keep at the forefront, okay, I know Larissa's heart. So even though it felt harsh, like, let me step out of my offense, present to her how I feel, knowing that she wasn't being intentionally malicious to make me feel this way. But it's still important for her to understand that the way that she said this thing made me feel a certain kind of way. Right? So there's a balance.
Absolutely. And there's a responsibility that if that's the case, I'm going to apologize.
Yes. We're very quick to apologize.
Yeah, we're really quick to apologize.
We're not stubborn. Like, no, well, you shouldn't have.
No. It's like, because at the end of the day, when we're having conversations, we're having a conversation to understand each other, not to win.
Right. Yes.
Not to, like, we're not, like, we win when we win together.
Right,
like,
exactly.
We don't win.
Which is why you're going to make a wonderful wife, because that is a key principle in marriage, y'all. Okay.
But no, seriously, it's like, we're in this to win together. We're not in this to, oh, well, I beat you at the argument, or I beat you at the conversation. Like, no, that doesn't help anybody, because me tearing you down don't make me feel better.
Right.
You know what I mean? As my friend, I'm here to lift you up, encourage you. Exactly. We're here to edify each other. And I think that's true friendship. True friendship is walking through life together, understanding each other, and helping each other grow.
Yeah.
And just being that support. So when it comes to friendship, how would you encourage others to be a better friend?
I would first say listen more than you talk. Larissa has taught me how to be more observant. Make many mistakes because I get impulsive, and because I'm a lover, just dive right into relationships without discerning, right? So everything I'm telling you guys is stuff that I had to learn the hard way, because I was hard-headed. She used to call me hard-headed all the time. Am I still hard-headed?
No, you're better. I'm proud of you. I don't even be having to say nothing.
I used to be hard-headed. She would warn me about stuff. I'm like, it's okay. Like, and then I'd be like, Rissa, guess what? She'd be like, didn't I tell you? And I'm like, you did. But give yourself, and I tell my daughter this, give yourself some time to get to know the person, to be able to see the fruit, right? Jesus tells us to identify people by their fruit, not just by what they're saying or how they look. Assess their fruit, and the fruit is going to be able to tell you what is in their soil, right? And so just like an apple tree is not going to grow off an orange tree, and vice versa, So that's the first thing that I would say to do, to be a good listener. Without listening, it's really going to be really hard to take inventory in the person that you are in relationship with and how to care for them. It's not a one size fit all. Everybody's different. Things that I might be able to say to Larissa, I might not be able to say to my other friends, and vice versa. As direct as I might be to another friend, I might not be able to be direct with Larissa, and that's okay because everybody's different. So really learning, how to care for your friend, and you only learn that by listening. And I think everything else just kind of falls in place like making sure that you don't have selfish motives. Like, I know that I've been in relationships, not necessarily friendships, but I've been in relationships to be able to fulfill a selfish outcome. Like, oh, I need to get to school, so I'm gonna talk to this dude because he got a car. Like, I'm not really interested in you. So assess your selfish motives, because you're gonna end up hurting and abusing that person, and it's gonna catch up to you. I've repented so many different times, just remembering different mistakes that I made in the past as it comes to just handling God's people. I'm like sorry for that, now knowing, the detriment that it caused people internally, even if they can't attach my name to that. I know, from a spiritual standpoint that I've caused harm, right? And so, just treating people with care, assessing, listening, and checking your motives, making sure it's not selfish.
So
you had a second part to the question. I forgot. Kind of got lost in that.
You know how my memory goes.
Let us know. Put in the comments what that question was, because then maybe I could answer you in the comments or something.
I know, because you know how my memory
I lost sight of it.
It's okay.
Maybe I answered it. I don't know. It'll come back.
Yep.
What's your next question?
So my next question is, why do you think having friendships are crucial to growing in life?
Well, I think it ties back into having a village, right? God says it's not good for man to do life alone, right? And he didn't mean just like husband and wife, although in that scripture it was talking about creation and Adam and Eve. But, I think that the principle is that we're supposed to do life together. And I think the reason that is because we all have different gifts. And so I think that friendships bring unique perspectives that you might not see in that moment. They bring joy into the relationship. They bring wisdom, edification, accountability, and you build together, to fulfill the purpose that God has placed you here on this earth. So I think that is the reason why, friendships are important.
So what are some things that maybe in your past friendships that you used to do that now you do differently in newer friendships?
Passiveness.
Okay.
I was extremely passive. If I'm honest, I would let people run over me. It took a lot for me to speak up for myself, and I would just internalize it, but I would be angry inside. Being passive and not speaking up doesn't really equal healthy outcomes for yourself, right? It might eliminate the confrontation that you're trying to avoid, but we have to believe that our voice is worth speaking up. And the enemy had tried to steal my voice or make me lack using my voice at a very early age, and that spilled over into relationships. I didn't really want to speak up. It's funny because when I met Larissa, as our friendship started to grow, she started to counsel me on using my voice. Like, you should probably speak up, or if you feel that way, you probably should tell that person that, or why are you doing this when you really feel this way? And she really caused me to process and reevaluate how I was doing things and how I was treating myself. And I started to speak up, and I could tell that the people that I was in those friendships with did not like it. They're like, you changed, and it just was new for them, and they didn't like it, and it caused some riffraff. But I had to stand my ground in it. It was uncomfortable, but I had to do it to evolve. You know?
And that takes us to
how
important is it to allow your friend space to evolve?
Space to evolve?
Yes, like room to evolve. And how do you do that?
Well, first of all, it's extremely important because, if you don't allow your friend to evolve, then they're stagnant and they're oppressed, right? Oppressed is just a state of just standstill. And we're not meant to. God says that our minds renew every day, our spirits renew every day. We're new creations. We're constantly transforming into the image of God. So if we are oppressed or we are stagnant, we are not transforming, right? Mm-hmm. So that expectation is a roadblock, and it's a very selfish expectation to put on a person who God says is supposed to evolve every single day. It's unfair, and if you're doing that, change. Change, like now, because your friend deserves more. How important is it to give them that space? So, I think I answered that, and then you said, what else did you say?
And in what way can you give them that space?
What way can you give them that space? So the space doesn't necessarily mean like I'm not talking to you for a month, like, Now, if they need to do that, that's fine. But again, it's not a one-size-fit-all scenario. So some people may be able to evolve while still doing life with you, but they're changing, and like you have to be open to the change. And if the change make you uncomfortable, then voicing that and working through that. But if that person says, for example, I'm not going to put names out there, but I was making certain decisions, and I was in a very busy season, and it wasn't like a busy season like a Martha spirit busy. It was like this was what God was telling me to do. I was seeking God's face every single day on how my day should look and what I should be doing. So I felt very, very confident in how I was spending my time, and balancing my time. And this particular friend had, she was a little upset, or a lot upset, about me not being readily available all the time. And I had to express to her that, like, I hear you, and I'm so sorry that I haven't been giving you the time that you desire. But let's get on each other's calendar so that we can be more intentional, because this is such a busy season for me, and I know for a fact that what I'm doing, God has called me to do it. And she wasn't happy with it, and it caused a temporary divide, and I had to be accepting of it, but I had a peace. Because I knew that I was doing what God told me to do, and I was evolving. God was teaching me stuff, downloading every single day, multiple times a day. I was evolving. And so I think it's super important that as your friend is evolving, that when they're expressing themselves and they're saying, hey, I'm grounded in the Lord, this is what the Lord is telling me to do, that you support them. That support is everything. When you're not supporting them, like, that causes them to have to work through that grief, because, it's not like they're asking to handle the situation the way that they're handling it. It's just like, if God is telling them to spend their time differently, and this could be, you could insert any scenario, right? But you're discerning and asking God for how you're supposed to be spending your time. And if you're being obedient, then there's plenty of times where Larissa was like, well, that's not what God said. And I'd be like, I don't got no arguments. All right, cool. Like, I don't have nothing to say. I might want understanding, but I'm not going to counter that, and that allows her to evolve and feel supported, right?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Absolutely, it does. I will say, I could definitely attest that our friendship, I feel like mutually it's supported. It's like, and there's a respect there. There's a level of respect there where it's like, this is what God told me to do in the season. This is where God has me right now. And it's like, okay, if that's what God told you, then let me back off. Yeah, there's no argument with that. Instead of like, well, this is what I want. I don't think we move out of our flesh. We move out of what God has for us in that season.
When we do move out of our flesh, though, we do address it with one another.
Yes.
Right? And that's how we evolve too. Like, hey, did you check in with the Holy Spirit? Did the Holy Spirit tell you to do this, or you're just doing it because it makes sense to you? And that checks you, right? And then you take it to the Father, or you take it in your own time, process it, and then do whatever God's going to do with that information. But that allows us to evolve too. It's like when we are making fleshy decisions, that as friends we're holding each other accountable and not bashing each other, but just saying, hey, like, this is not aligning with my spirit. Can you help me understand why you're doing this more? And sometimes her explanations, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And sometimes I'm like, I think you should like seek the Father's heart a little bit more, just to get more clarity, because it sounds like there's some gaps in how you're making this decision.
Yes. And I think, like, it's funny, I think about, like, the nonverbals. Like,
we just talked about this yesterday.
We just talked about this. So, it's
you didn't even see me. You felt it.
I know. So, we know each other so well. Like, our spirits are like, Yeah. So, like, we be knowing, okay? Like, we really be knowing each other so well. It's crazy. But I think it's also important to respect those nonverbals, you know, because I think, like, there have been moments, and there are moments still, that, let's say, if something's happening and she questions something or don't agree with something, that I'm like, well, this is what it is. You don't always have to respond. You know, sometimes all you need to do is to go and seek God, you know, go and pray about it. And God will check that person. Yeah. Like, for instance, there was a moment yesterday.
You want to tell a story?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell the story.
I mean, it's not that deep, but it's just a testament of just like friendship, village, and God.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I was supposed to be filming a project right now, literally. At this moment. I was supposed to be filming a project at this moment. And I just agreed upon it. I agreed on it because it was like, oh, it's good money. Let me go do it, you know. And I told Winter, because we were supposed to be filming the podcast today. And I was like, oh, hey, you know, I called because I need to reschedule the podcast. And she was just like, oh. So I told her, I was like, because I'm doing this project, it's not a third, it's a, you know, whatever, this thing. And she was like,
so you said that you were getting off of work, you about to drive.
Oh, yes. I said I'm about to get off of work. I'm about to drive, you know, 2 hours to here, and then, you know, this and the third. She was just like, that don't sound right to me. And I was like, I said, what this happens all the time? Okay. She was like, oh, okay. So we get off the phone, and I'm driving home from work. And I'm like, that darn Winter. She knows how to get in my head, don't she? She didn't even say anything other than, okay. But I could feel it. I could feel her spirit was like, And I was like, okay. And I started talking to God. I said, okay, God, if she felt that and her spirit didn't agree with it. She didn't even tell me her spirit didn't agree with it. There's a reason. So I'm like, okay, God, if this is what I'm not supposed to do, I need you to make it plain. I'm not supposed to do this. Came home, got in the shower. God was like, look them up. Now, mind you, my friend Eris, who's supposed to be riding up there with me.
It was like 5 minutes away. This is like midnight.
This is midnight.
1 o'clock midnight, y'all. So, last night.
Yes, literally. I'm like, okay, get out the shower. God's like, look them up. Look up this band. So I'm like, all right, look them up. Satanic band.
Lord help them.
Satanic band. And I was like, God was like, no, I'm not sending you to that. And it's a distraction.
And he showed you just the accountability when like your other friend.
Yes.
Bring her in that space.
Exactly. And God's like, not only are you going, if you went, you would be taking you into that space. You would be taking someone else into that space. So I was like, okay. So I called my friend Eris and I said, hey, Eris, sorry, girl, where you at? She was like, I'm 5 minutes away. And I was like, oh. So we're not going. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, no, we're not going. Yeah, God told me no. She was like, okay. I mean, if God told you no, then it's no. And one, I'm grateful that, and this is why it's so important to have friends where you're equally yoked. You're equally yoked because a lot of people would have like tested that. Like, yeah, no, come on, you exactly like no. And then she was like, okay, like if God told you no, then it's no. Mm-hmm. And I'm just so grateful for that. And I was just like, okay, all right, God. And I was having a conversation with Eris, and I was just like, okay, God, thank you. And God also was just like, that's a distraction. I told you, you got this podcast to do. This is where you are in this season.
I haven't put that together.
Like, you have this podcast, and you're about to cancel this podcast.
Cam was just telling me about that, like how the enemy, like as we elevate, he will try to cause distractions when you start to move in the path that God has for you. He'll try to cause distractions. So, like, he knows what will catch our attention, you know, and it caught your attention for a second, but then you surrender. That's why it's so important to surrender to God before you make an impulsive decision. Because if it's not aligning with God's will, He's going to tell you. If you ask Him to make it plain, child, He will make it plain. Yes. He really would.
Yes. And I was like moving out, and I was explaining to Eris yesterday that I was moving out of a space of like, I was fearful to cancel because I didn't want to mess up a business relationship. Right. And because that's not the way I move. You know, I'm very professional. I move, you know, very like in a really good way. And people know me for that. So for me to just cancel, and I was like, but, you know, to me, I'm at this place where like, if this is what God tells me to do, I'm following God.
Yeah. Whether it makes sense to others or not.
Exactly. Whether it makes sense or not. So I did end up having to cancel. And I was just, you know, I felt bad, but I was just like, but this is what God told me to do.
Right.
You know, like this is just why
I
am.
Have that peace.
Exactly. So I have a peace about it. And I'm grateful because now we get to do the podcast.
Here we are.
Yes, here we are.
Excuse me.
But yeah, I think it just goes back into, like I said, being, like you said, being equally yoked. And that's in friendships, relationships, whatever, because friendships turn into relationships, you know, when it's with the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Or whatever. If it's supposed to be. It's funny, I had told Eris, I posted this, I love Maya Angelou. I love her so much.
I didn't get to listen to it though.
Oh, girl, I love it. So what she said that as a woman, when we meet a man, or whatever, sometimes we have a habit of perverting those relationships. And those relationships were only meant to be like a brother.
Yeah.
And there's so much good that happens when you build a bond with a brother spiritually. And it's beneficial. And it made me think about so many times where I'm taking this whole full accountability and this weight where I've taken male relationships and perverted them. And I remember I told you this. I got to the place where I'm like, I don't want it. If God didn't say it,
no thank you.
No thank you. We friends.
Yeah.
And that's what we're gonna leave
Absolutely.
it. We're friends. And that's what
the best
God
relationships start off with friendship.
Yes.
You know, because Jackie Hill Perry was just talking about this in B. Simone's podcast, but like when you are annoyed with each other and I don't like you, I know that I love you, you know, and we have our friendship to fall on.
Yes.
But if you're just, you know, this partner and it's like businessy, you know, in the spirit, like I'm supposed to, my job is to help you meet your purpose. And like if there's no friendship there, then, you know, it just makes it harder. It makes it rougher to navigate, right? So just revisiting those moments where you guys were friends, you're not just lovers, but you're friends.
Exactly.
Tell me again.
Tell me again.
Lovers and friends.
She's the singer. I am.
I'm not a singer.
You are the singer.
Am I?
Yeah, you're definitely a singer.
Huh. That's news to me, y'all.
She's the singer. I'm the
dancer?
No, I mean I am a dancer, but not that kind of dancer. I'm the karaokeer. That's what I am. I'm the karaokeer.
I still have not seen you do karaoke. Oh, yes, I have. At my house.
Seen me do karaoke plenty of times.
I
love karaoke, and I'm a full-blown performer.
You are. I would love that, to like find like a quality karaoke spot.
Yeah.
We should open a karaoke lounge. Who's with us?
Let's do it. Let's do
like
it.
A nice vibe.
Yeah, that would be
like
just
appetizers, drinks, and karaoke.
Exactly, that would be bomb.
We need an angel investor.
Let's go. We're ready. We're ready. But yeah, so let's tie this up. Friendship. Okay. When you think of friendship, give me 3 words.
Loyalty. Selflessness. Growth. Loyalty, selflessness, growth.
Loyalty, selflessness, growth. That's good. I love that. So, thank you for tuning in to our 2nd episode.
2. Oh, that's 3.
That's 3. You don't know your numbers?
3, 2, 1.
I
was counting down.
Okay.
That was a lot.
Thank you for tuning in to our 2nd episode of Zuri's podcast with the besties. Your favorite besties.
Yes.
Winter and Riss.
Hey.
Excited to continue to grow with y'all.
Who's on episode 3?
We'll see. We shall see who's on episode 3.
I love this.
Yes.
I love this.
Okay.
Tune in, guys. Y'all want to miss this.
Yes,
this is authentic relationship.
Absolutely. I don't even come with a list of questions. This is just the Holy Spirit, like, boom.
I love it.
Nice. There you go. Exactly. So,
I hope we blessed you guys.
Yes. So, love you guys. Thank you for being a part of our village. Talk to you soon.
All right now.
All right.